Hi there, this is Samantha from the law offices of Samantha Wolfe. And the next question I have in our What If series is what if, in order to protect assets from my long term care, so nursing home costs, what if I transfer my real estate or my assets to my kids? And I wanted to address that because there are a lot of times when clients think that is a way to protect assets. So let's talk about that, especially when it deals with real estate. So what will happen is mom and dad, let's just say my parents, will transfer the house for $1 to me. And the thought being that then I own it and I don't have to pay inheritance tax and it's not then available for my parents' long-term care. So the problem with that is even though I'm saying in $1, they're saying it's not a gift, I transferred it for $1. For tax purposes, that is considered a gift because again, it's not adequate consideration. The property is worth more than $1. So what that actually means is that it was a gift that was made to me. So as long as my parents do survive it by 1 year, then it's not subject to Pennsylvania inheritance tax. However, I got their carryover basis in the property, which just means again, if mom and dad, I use this in another example, if mom and dad bought the property for $10,000, that's their basis. If it's actually worth $100,000 and they gift it to me, my basis is the $10,000. So if I then turn around and sell it for $100,000 minus the $10,000 basis is I'm going to have to pay capital gains tax on $90,000. So I always like to mention that. The other thing that's really important about this that people don't realize in Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania has a doctrine called the implied life estate, which means that if my parents transfer that asset to me for $1, but continue to live there and do not pay rent, then it is still going to be subject to Pennsylvania inheritance tax. So it is still subject to the 4.5% tax. Now, if we look at it, in some ways that's good because if I pay the 4.5% tax, it's because it's included in their estate, then I do get a stepped up basis, which means if I turn around and sell it, the capital gains tax won't be as much because again, it's the sale price minus the basis. So it would be, in this case, 0% capital gains tax. But I think it's important for people to know that because countless times I see a client come in and they say, well, I already transferred it. I sold it to my child for $1, but I still live there. And then I ask, well, did you pay rent? And the answer to that is no. And so my response to that is you are still going to pay Pennsylvania inheritance tax. I should say your kids are still going to pay Pennsylvania inheritance tax because they're the owner and technically you're a tenant. And if you weren't paying rent, then it's still subject to Pennsylvania inheritance tax. So even though you think you're getting it out of your estate and you think you're protecting the asset, it does create all kinds of issues. If you have specific questions or concerns about this, you're welcome to give us a call at 717-655-2676. We offer consultations and we'd be happy to review with you other planning techniques that you can employ that will allow you to either protect assets or to avoid Pennsylvania inheritance tax if that's a goal that you have. So please call our office and we'd be happy to help you with that.